Data protection and privacy teams are under more pressure than ever with new laws, AI oversight, data breaches, and the constant expectation to do more with fewer resources.
That's why TrustArc built a modern privacy and data protection management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. It unifies your tools, automates the work that slows you down, and surfaces what matters most right when you need it.
From guided quick actions to our intelligent assistant, Ask Arc, you get credible, contextual answers backed by expert research, not generic AI guesses.
Finally, privacy that works the way privacy pros work.
Learn how TrustArc helps teams move faster with confidence at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.
You're listening to the award-winning Serious Privacy podcast sponsored by TrustArc. Please welcome your hosts, Paul Breitbart, Ralph O'Brien, and Dr. Kay Royal.
Hey everyone, I'm back. Even though you have had the pleasure of listening to Kay and Ralph for the past couple of weeks, having them talk about a month in privacy and then another week in privacy, there is still quite some updates that we can give you. So this is another week in privacy episode, and don't worry, the guests will be coming back. We have some nice guests lined up for the next couple of weeks for you. But today we are just giving you some updates. So as always, my name is Paul Breitbart.
My name is Ralph O'Brien.
And I'm Kay Royal, and welcome to Serious Privacy. And can I tell you how good it feels to say that?
Because you were not allowed to say it in the past 2 weeks?
No. Ralph made me do the introduction so he could say, welcome to Serious Privacy.
It's a lot more sophisticated.
It sounds more sophisticated, at least.
Plus, it's also evidence of us being the only truly global privacy podcast, spanning multiple continents, even in the people actually talking about it.
Yep, absolutely. I love it.
By the way, it's not sophistication. It's just an accent.
That's what I try to tell people about a Southern accent as well. It's not stupidity. It's just an accent. If you don't like it, I'm going to double down on it.
As Henry Higgins said, why can't the English teach their children how to speak? Well, in America, they haven't used English for years.
We use American. Okay. So I love this question. Here we go. And this is not the one written down on my phone that I planned out 52 questions for the year. Action heroes always say, danger is my middle name. What would be your middle name if there was an attribute that described you?
My middle name's Thomas, so I suppose you could say I'm a doubting Thomas.
Something that goes with your name rather than something you just make up randomly. I like it.
Privacy would make sense.
Or data protection, at least.
Data protection would make
is
sense.
his middle name.
AI probably would make sense. Digital services could work, but I'm going for the cook.
The cook.
Oh, the cook.
Fundamental rights and freedoms is my middle name.
Rights and freedoms is my middle name. I thought it was going to be license plates.
Why would it be license plates?
That's Ralph's one thing. He really hates his license plate readers.
Oh, so it's Ralph ANPR O'Brien.
I don't have a middle name. Legitimately, I don't have a middle name.
You don't even have a name. You have a letter.
I have a letter, right?
You
Barely have a birthday. That's why I keep collecting all the letters after my name. We could say Her Highness is my middle name, but I think I would probably go with Sparkly. Hey, Sparkles.
Sparkles. Sparkles is
I
good.
like that. Hey, Sparkles.
Okay. So, Sparkles, what's happening in the U.S.?
The what he claimed first, I literally just signed on, and I'm like, oh, I don't even know what the heck's going on here. I do know that we got an AI executive order pushed out, and I love the analysis again by Violet Sullivan going through that order, and analysis without recommendations for change is almost useless, is what I think she said. So that's another thing that we're going to go with. IAPP is coming up in the United States starting this weekend, or I guess technically it starts on Monday, but a lot of people are flying on Sunday. Here in the U.S., travel is a little iffy right now. TSA agents have been without pay for quite some time. As a matter of fact, I think I saw a call going around for can we drop them off food or gift cards or something to help because they have no money, but they're still doing the job. So I don't expect my flight from Greenville will be impacted, but my flight back on Tuesday evening from DC will likely be very much impacted. And this is impacting people flying for other countries. I think we were talking outside the podcast about how a lot of people outside the U.S. have decided not to come because of the situation in the U.S., whether they like it or what. I guess they wouldn't come if they didn't like it. For that in itself, but then also with the situation in Iran and surrounding countries, there's a lot of flights that are being diverted and rerouted for much, much longer flight paths. So that would also impact people coming as well. So I have a feeling that we're going to be down a little bit in attendance, even though Prince Harry is going to be there as a keynote speaker.
Yeah, Prince Harry and Salman Rushdie, as I understand it. Yeah, this is an interesting one because, my normal moan about data protection versus privacy aside, this is somebody who has grown up in the public eye who knows about press intrusion. So I imagine that will be the top of the agenda there. But you'll have to give us a report, Kay, on what over in the IAPP conference.
Yeah, I will. I will give.
And maybe get an interview with Prince Harry.
Oh, wouldn't that be even better? Let me just bump into him in a hallway and just take it for granted that he's going to stop and speak with me, right? Before Secret Service people take me down.
Hey, you're a sudden sparkling belle, so you're a queen.
There
You
we
are a
go,
queen.
right?
You are an actual queen. So wear your crown,
I
and
am
then
a
maybe he
queen.
recognizes that.
That's right. I won't travel with my crown, but real queens wear very subtle crowns. So here we go. Mine is subtly, it's built into my persona. It floats with me like an aura.
Game recognizes game.
But I will say that one of my friends in the field has posted that she will be wearing red every day. Red jacket, red shirt, red. That way people can tell I'm going to have shoes. I'm just going to say they're probably going to be pink sparkly shoes or gold cowboy boots or something. So I will tell you on Monday what shoes I'm wearing and on Tuesday what shoes I'm wearing. And don't discount the impact of that because I did have several people track me down because they saw the shoes that I posted that day.
Nice.
It's true. I was there last year when you did. The other thing you could wear is the Serious Privacy socks.
I could wear serious privacy. We have logo socks. Could do that. And I am bringing stickers. I did not do new stickers since my co-hosts are not coming with me. So it will be whatever I had left over of some of them. And some of them is with the Joker. And it says, "Why so serious? Privacy." I'll have those with me.
Next week, we're going to be recording on it on April the 1st. So it's a jokes ahoy.
I saw that's going to be awesome. What do y'all have going on around the world? That way I didn't cover a whole lot of news in the U.S., but.
I thought you would have led with Oklahoma.
Right.
Oh, what a beautiful morning.
Oklahoma when the wind comes sweeping down the plains.
Y'all knew this was coming with Oklahoma, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
SB 546, the
Yep.
Oklahoma Computer Data Privacy Act, the 20th U.S. state with a comprehensive privacy law.
To me, the 21st, effective in 2027, which is also interesting since they also hit the news that they're providing voter registration data to the Department of Justice. But hey, if you're in the news, you're in the news. But yes, I count Florida as a state data privacy law. Omnibus. It is such a high barrier to be applicable to, but it does exist.
Okay. So anything particular about Oklahoma? Anything that deviates from the standard that we've seen across the U.S. so far?
They're pretty standard. They've been working on it for years, year after year. I think they've been working on it for 7 years. I think they've gone through 5 or 6 different drafts with it, but it's not going to be anything that's going to shock anyone.
I think staying in the Americas, I've got a bit of FOMO this week, a bit of fear of missing out because Lima, the Global Cross-Border Privacy Rules, the CBBR Forum, is meeting in Lima, Peru this year. Now, people who know me will know I've got a special connection with Peru because my cousins live there and I got to visit a couple of years back. So it's a place dear to my heart. And somehow I completely missed it on the radar and only found out when everyone else started messaging from there. But it looks like the Global CBPR Forum is updating the global requirements. And for those people that don't know what the CBPRs are, much as we have adequacy and SCCs that make international transfer from Europe much easier, Asia Pacific many years ago came up with this CBPR to transfer data around the Asia Pacific Rim. Now, it's actually been updated to be the global CBPR forum because people like the UK joined after Brexit. And the biggest change in it is they're changing the program requirements to add in a new preventing harm principle, which personally I think is the only principle in the first place. But so they've changed the requirements. It's worth looking at, and we'll post the link. It's from 50 requirements up to 57's requirements, and they've added in new ones around processing sensitive and children's data, risk assessment and mitigation, breach notification, a few extra requirements around choice, a few extra requirements around accountability, including records of processing and making sure that people responsible for compliance within a data protection program have qualifications appropriate to the nature. That's an interesting one. So a requirement to actually have qualifications as a data protection lead.
Would that be passing an exam just like the IAPP, or would that be more like actually doing a training course like the one you give or the ones we teach at Maastricht University?
Yeah, it just says qualifications appropriate to the nature. So I guess depending on your risk and assurance, you'd need a different level, would be my thought there.
No, I would just say come do a training with either of us.
Oh, of course, yeah. But
I am eager to share a story that just came across my feed. The jury came back in the Alphabet and Meta lawsuit, finding them liable to a social media addiction lawsuit.
Very
that
good.
Just happened today. I just saw it come across my news.
I see it coming in now too.
Yep, that came in. So I should have led with that, but here we are, breaking news. I saw the news story as we were on the podcast. Y'all know that, and we talked about this before, that Snap and TikTok settled with the plaintiff before the jury trial began. And the main plaintiff at the middle of this is a 20-year-old woman who alleged that she became addicted to these social media apps from a young age because of their attention-grabbing design and their encouragement for people to stay on and keep and go. The doom scroll, right? They encouraged the doom scroll. And since she challenged on structure and design rather than content, it was a lot harder for them to say they were not liable. They say that their users create the content, not them. They're not supposed to police, but this was design.
Yeah. It's negligent design, and Meta and YouTube must pay $3 million in compensatory damages for pain and suffering and other financial burdens.
So there you go. That opens the floodgates for others. Yeah. And a lot of states last year passed laws or had bills around social media, whether it was time on cell phones, time on thing, communication with a lot of social media laws around children last year. But this was...
We've discussed it before that indeed the design, of course, content can be an issue, but design of these apps absolutely are too. And that is also one of the statements I vividly remember from the girls who were with me on stage during the Jersey International Conference, the panel on minor protection and children and social media, where they also said, listen, even if we try to keep our accounts private, even then we are confronted with people we don't know who are not of our age group, who want to follow us, who apparently got us as a suggestion. Also, those kind of design choices. That has nothing to do with content. That is really design. I applaud actually this jury for finding them guilty of negligent design. And I'm really looking forward what that will bring.
Hold your socks, because there's more. A New Mexico jury found Meta platforms violated state law. The lawsuit was brought by the state attorney general, who accused Meta of enabling child exploitation. Meta claimed First Amendment, Section 230, third-party platform. They're shielded, but the jury found them guilty yesterday. I'm just now seeing it. I guess I wasn't paying attention yesterday.
Yesterday, 24 March.
Right. But it says that they were guilty of misleading users about enabling child sexual exploitation on the platforms, and they ordered $375 million in civil penalties.
That's dollars.
Yes.
Yeah, y'all can laugh at the U.S. all you want. We believe in lawsuits, but damn, we are holding companies accountable.
That's just popped up on my feed as well. The BBC have just reported on it as well. And their lead is not only the 3 million, but also that it opens the floodgates, if you like, for other similar suits.
Or still appeal. I expect the one in Los Angeles to appeal as well.
The New Mexico one is interesting because that's under New Mexico's Unfair Practices Act. And it had a lot of testimony from former employees, including whistleblowers. And we're actually starting to see that.
And an undercover operation.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 books actually, and one of them's called Careless People, and I can't remember the author, but Careless People, again, it's a whistleblower. It's somebody who's left the company and has seek to expose some of the things that they said internally to try and keep the platform sticky, right? To use A/B testing and to design the platforms rather than with data protection by design, with data collection, surveillance, and addiction by design, he says strongly.
And if it's not addiction by design, it's addiction by negligence and gross negligence.
Ralph, when you refer to the BBC, is that the same BBC that will be run by Google now?
Yeah, I often talk about regulatory capture when we see a lot of ex-Google, Facebook employees. We know in Europe, certainly one of the people in the digital omnibus is from big tech. Certainly in the ICO, a number of their board members are big tech here in the UK.
Irish DPC as well.
Yeah, the DPC as well. So we talk about regulatory capture, but now I'm going to talk about media capture because the BBC's new Director General is an ex-Google boss, Matt Brittin, as of a couple of hours ago. So yeah, it's really interesting to see that a public institution like the BBC that's been known to be certainly domestically funded by the license fee and therefore politically neutral. I know internationally it's more commercial. Certainly local, it's a pretty unique broadcaster and has to be very careful politically.
But when you're looking for senior people who have experience across technology and AI and all the different regulatory laws, it's hard not to touch on an ex-Googler, ex-Meta, ex-Microsoft, ex-Amazon, right?
You could hire either of us.
That is true. You could look for the regular people who are fight every day.
Exactly. I do have some sad news out of Germany.
Uh-oh.
That you may not have seen, but the Federal Data Protection Authority's chair, Dr. Luisa Specht-Riemenschneider, has announced last week that she has to resign for health reasons.
Oh.
She was respected, but she had only been in office since September 2024. But she says, my health takes priority, obviously. And so I will need to resign. She will stay in office until a succession or successor has been named.
Okay.
Which may take a couple more months, but then she will resign, unfortunately.
Our hearts and prayers go out to her for healing.
Yeah, and while we're on Strong Women in Power, I also just want to put a shout out to the new Archbishop of Canterbury of the Church of England, the Anglican Church over here today, who has got their first female Archbishop of Canterbury. There we go.
Well done.
Very good.
While we're on interesting people, I don't know if anyone's a darts fan, if people know the English bar sport of darts, but Luke Littler, who is the youngest darts champion, in fact, in history, has actually applied to the Intellectual Property Office to trademark his face so that it can't be reproduced by generative AI without permission.
Interesting. That's the guy who lost from a Dutchman last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Ouch.
He is one of the youngest guys.
21, something like that?
He's about 19 actually. He's 19.
Okay.
He's 19, but he joins like the ranks of other sort of celebrities, such as the American actor Matthew McConaughey, of course, some footballers who have tried to trademark their facial images, their autographs, their nicknames, even Taylor Swift, Scarlett Johansson, these sorts of people who are trying to protect their images now that they're very easily to be deepfaked, or their voice and likeness, which of course is how they earn their money.
Yeah.
From that wonderful generative AI.
I'm not sure I see the added value of trademarking
Copyright's
your facial
not enough.
characteristics. There are so many other laws already protecting against misuse of that, which are very hard to enforce. Why would IP law make it easier to enforce?
Again, copyright's not good enough.
Yeah.
Because anyone who takes a picture of you, they own that. They own the picture. They're the author of that piece of copyrighted material. And if they make it publicly available, then there goes your face right there. But if you trademark your face, it's a whole different story.
It is interesting, isn't it?
I don't know how successful it will be, but it is better protection than copyright.
In a way, your image is one of the least private things about you because you wear it everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So claiming image rights is fantastic. And hey, watch this space.
Yeah. When we talk about image rights, we should also talk about the AI omnibus, which was presented by the European Commission at the end of 2025 and was intended to push back some of the implementation deadlines in the AI Act, also alleviate some of the business concerns, especially for high-risk AI and general-purpose AI. At the time, we were doubtful that the legislation would even make it through the legislative process in time, because the first deadline that will be pushed back is that of the 2nd of August, 2026, which is in 4 months and a little bit. But it seems that it may still be possible, because last week, the Council of Ministers already agreed their position. And earlier this week, the committees in the European Parliament agreed, and that vote will happen in the plenary tomorrow, so on the 26th of March, which means that the negotiations between the Commission, the Parliament, and the member states can start. One of the things that they are in agreement of is to add an additional category to the banned AI purposes under the EU AI Act, and that's the AI nudifier apps and systems, where you can just take a picture of somebody and then get nudes or pornography made out of that picture. So that will be banned as of the entry into force of the AI omnibus. Where some more negotiation will be required is on the pushback of the dates. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
The EU member states want to push it back so the Commission proposed to push back to the 2nd of December 2027 for high-risk AI, and with some additional requirements being pushed back to the 2nd of August 2028. And the Council, so the Minister says, no, we want to push everything back to the 2nd of December 2027, with more obligations pushed back to 2028. The European Parliament thinks that's too long, and they are aiming for the 2nd of November 2026. So only a pushback of 3 months and nothing more. Also to keep the pressure on the European Commission to actually come up with all the guidelines that are the reason for the pushback in the first place, because it's all still so vague on what is high-risk AI, what is general-purpose AI, how should we deal with it.
But there's still a chance that the pushbacks won't be accepted and the law will go into effect as it is, and companies will be running behind and running scared because we have no idea what they're actually doing.
Exactly, and also no idea what the requirements are. I think that the negotiations between Parliament and Member States and Commission will start immediately after Easter, and then also keep the pressure on to get this done in the next couple of weeks so that it can be voted and published in the official journal, ideally still in April, but possibly at the start of May, so that it is clear that the obligations will be pushed back. But also, I think that the Nudifier app ban is actually an extra incentive, because that's also a call from citizens all across Europe that they don't like this and that they want this to be banned.
Yeah, we're seeing more of them being banned across the globe, but more and more countries passing laws against generative AI that produce sexualized deepfakes or anything similar.
Which obviously doesn't mean that they will actually disappear.
Right. It means only the criminals will have it.
Naturally. Talking about criminals.
And Ralph comes right back.
No, I think we can move into an interesting little thing I saw on actually Substack about a company called Delve. I don't know if people are familiar with Delve and that.
The computer company Dell that was established by Michael Dell back in the 80s? That Dell?
Delve, Delve.
Okay. No,
Delve.
then I'm not familiar.
This is an interesting article. And again, nothing has been proved yet, but this is a compliance platform, Delve, who has tried to essentially say that, hey, people are compliant under HIPAA, people are compliant under GDPR, US auditors with Indian certification. And there's been a little bit of investigative journalism done with empty US shell companies, mailbox agents, automation and AI used to essentially, and I'm going to put inverted commas here, produce evidence to prove compliance. It's really interesting. There's a massive, great big
documentation.
Lot of documentation here about, and this all came from a leak that actually came allegedly from inside Delve itself, that has said that this is a company that have been falsifying or producing evidence that may not be necessarily true, and obviously then exposing their customers who have used them as a compliance platform with...
What a nightmare.
So we'll see how that develops. If that proves to be true, then that's an organization that's going to be in a lot of trouble. But it was in late December, an email went out to hundreds of Delve's clients informing them that there was a load of confidential reports there. And it had Google Doc links that looked at audit reports and where they came from. And the claim was that for any particular company, that, for example, their SOC 2 report would be part of a fraudulent audit process using automated report generators that give identical reports for all companies involved.
Talk about deceptive trade practices.
Could be interesting. Yeah, it could be interesting to see how that works out, because we're seeing more and more companies move into what would be called compliance as a service, right?
Yep.
Where people are producing online platforms where you can store or generate your evidence in case of a regulatory discussion, let's say, or certification or badges. Right. And this is all underpinned by trust, reputation, by thorough audits. And we have to remember that the auditing and holding people to account, if people remember Arthur Andersen and Enron, that led to things like Sarbanes-Oxley. But we're in a new wave, of course, with automated and AI conversations to be able to create and generate evidence. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this rolls out, and in the age of automation and AI. And again, we've often said on the internet, can you trust now can you trust what you're told in terms of compliance?
Wow. That means any contract with them are essentially null and void. And in any assurances that any company that used them as a vendor, gone. So interesting. That's going to bring a new wave of third-party risk management across.
Yeah. How can you be assured of your assurance? Who watches the watchers, as they say? Yeah.
Interesting. All right. I think we're at time.
And I think we're out of news. The news is happening while we are talking in this podcast, but I don't see any new push messages come in the past 2 minutes.
So we will be back on April the 1st, when I think we had a little bit of discussion of it during last week's podcast as well, but I should be able to give a big announcement during the next week and actually go official.
That is if Kay does her homework today.
Wow. Just throw me under the bus there. Just throw me under the bus.
Once you've done your homework, I need to do mine, so.
Okay, fine. And we're going to say goodbye. Bye, y'all.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Now that was serious privacy. Please subscribe on your favorite podcast app and leave us a review. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Blue Sky as Serious Privacy. Feel free to drop us a question or a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
If you're a data protection or privacy professional, you already know the pressure. Non-stop regulatory change, AI oversight, internal demands, and the expectation to somehow stay ahead of it all. And the old patchwork of tools just isn't cutting it anymore.
No. That's why TrustArc created a modern privacy management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. The TrustArc platform brings your workflows, evidence, research, tasks, and applications all together in one unified and intelligent workspace so you don't waste time digging, clicking, or context switching.
With Ask Arc, your privacy assistant, you can ask plain language questions about laws, jurisdictions, or even your own program data and get credible, cited answers based on NIMBY research and more than 1,000 global laws. It's explainable, transparent, and purpose-built for data protection and privacy.
So if you need to add a vendor, create a cookie banner, or start an assessment, quick actions take formally complex tasks, turn them into bite-sized guided workflows to save you time.
It's a platform that thinks like you, works like you, and helps you move faster with confidence, whether you're a seasoned DPO or you're just getting started.
See how modern privacy gets done. Explore Arc at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.